The first $500 a month you did not work for will change your relationship with money more than any raise you ever get. Not because $500 is a lot, it is not, but because it is the first proof, in your own bank account, that money can show up without you trading an hour of your life for it. Most people think passive income is a fantasy that starts in the millions. It does not. The first real rung on the ladder is smaller and closer than almost anyone tells you. Today, I am going to show you exactly what $500 a month unlocks, and the precise number it takes to build the machine that pays it. Here is the plan for the next few minutes. First, I will show you how this entire ladder works. One simple piece of math that turns any monthly income you want into the exact size of the pile it takes to fund it. Then I will give you the number for this first rung, and I promise it is lower than the one in your head. After that, 6 unlocks. 6 things that become true the moment your money starts paying you $500 a month. 1. The first dollar you did not work for. 2. The number is smaller than the fantasy. 3. 500 is a category killer. 4. It is income that never quits. 5. The snowball starts feeding itself. And 6. It quietly rewires how you see every purchase for the rest of your life. Then the boring, repeatable recipe to actually build it. Let us start with the machine. Every rung on this ladder runs on one idea, so let me hand it to you right now and we will use it the whole series. There is a long-standing planning rule of thumb that a sensible invested pile can pay out about 4% of itself every year, roughly forever, without the pile running dry. It is a rule of thumb, not a guarantee. But it is the anchor. And if you run the arithmetic backwards, it collapses into something you can do in your head. To find the pile that pays a given monthly income, you multiply that monthly income by 300. That is the whole trick. 300. Want 100 a month? 30,000 invested. Want 1,000 a month? 300,000. Every step on this ladder is just that one multiplication. So let us do it for 500 a month. 500 times 300 is $150,000. That is the number. $150,000 invested in boring, broad index funds throws off around $500 a month, $6,000 a year, that you can take without shrinking the original pile. Now, $150,000 is real money, and I am not going to pretend you find it under the couch, but look at how far it is from the fantasy. Nobody needs to be a millionaire to unlock the first rung of passive income. They need $150,000 doing a job, and a machine that already knows how to build to it. Hold that number. Everything today hangs off it. Unlock 1. The first dollar you did not work for changes something in your head that no paycheck ever has. Think about every dollar you have earned in your life so far. Behind each one is an hour you gave up, a shift, a meeting, a commute, a piece of your day you are never getting back. That is earned income, and it is the only kind most people ever experience. It is a fair trade, but it is a trade, and the second you stop trading, it stops. Now picture a different kind of dollar. This one shows up on a Tuesday while you are asleep, or at the gym, or having dinner with people you love. You did nothing that day to summon it. It came from a pile of money doing the work on your behalf. The amount barely matters the first time. It could be $12, $40, $100. What matters is the category flipping. For your entire life, money has meant hours. And now, for the first time, a little of it means ownership instead. That first drip is proof, concrete, undeniable, sitting in your account, that the machine is real, that it works, and that it works for you specifically. People chase that feeling their whole lives and assume it lives up in the millions. It does not. It starts the very first month your money pays you anything at all. And $500 a month is where it stops being a novelty and starts being a foundation. Unlock 2. The number is far smaller than the fantasy, and that gap is where most people quit before they start. Ask a room full of people how much it takes to earn $500 a month in passive income and watch what happens. Someone will say $1 million. Someone will say you need to be born into it, or own real estate empires, or run a business. The honest answer is $150,000, and that answer changes everything. Because $150,000 is a target a normal person on a normal income can actually build. It is not a lottery ticket. It is a savings and investing project with a finish line you can see. Here is why the myth is so expensive. When people believe the number is $1 million, they never begin. The gap looks so absurd that starting feels pointless, so they do nothing, and doing nothing is the only guaranteed way to never get there. But when you know the real number is $150,000, the whole thing snaps into focus. That is a monthly investment held for years, compounding quietly the entire time. It is reachable, it is scheduled, not wished for. The fantasy number paralyzes people. The real number mobilizes them. And the single most valuable thing I can do in this episode is replace the imaginary million in your head with the real 150,000. Because you cannot aim at a target you refuse to believe exists. Unlock 3. $500 a month is a category killer. It can permanently outsource one entire bill in your life to your money. This is where the abstract becomes real, so let us make it real. Look at your monthly expenses and find a category that lives right around $500. For a lot of people, that is the groceries. For others, it is the car payment, or the utilities, or the whole stack of phone, internet, insurance, and subscriptions bundled together. Now imagine that category never coming out of your paycheck again, because the machine pays it, not for a month, not as a one-off, every single month, for as long as the pile exists, which is to say indefinitely. You have not just found $500, you have permanently retired a bill from your own labor. Your groceries are now grown by your money. Your car is now driven by your investments. That is a completely different feeling from a discount or a good month. It is structural, it is permanent, and it quietly takes a piece of pressure off your life forever. And here is the part that sneaks up on people. Once one bill is handled by the machine, your own paycheck suddenly stretches further with zero extra effort because it is covering one less thing. The rung does not just pay you $500. It amputates a recurring cost you used to carry alone. Pick the bill you would hand over first. Hold that thought, because in a minute I will show you the fastest way to get there. Unlock 4. This is income that never quits, and that makes it fundamentally different from the money you earn at work. Your job income, as good as it might be, sits on top of a stack of things that can all give way. It depends on your boss, on your company staying healthy, on the economy, on your health, on your ability to keep showing up hour after hour. Any one of those can be pulled out from under you, and when it is, earned income stops that same week. It is powerful, but it is fragile, and it is completely tied to you being able to work. Asset income, the $500 a month from the machine, sits on a different foundation entirely. It does not care whether you got laid off. It does not care whether you are sick or on vacation or asleep or 65 and done working forever. The pile keeps doing its job regardless of what is happening in your life because the pile is not you. That independence is the entire point of building this thing. Every rung you climb replaces a slice of fragile, effort-based income with durable, effortless income that keeps paying in exactly the moments your regular paycheck might vanish. $500 a month will not replace your salary. Nobody is claiming that. But it is the first slice of income in your life that has no off switch tied to your body or your job. And once you have felt what it is like to own even a little income that cannot be taken away by a bad Monday, you understand what the whole ladder is really for. It is not about getting rich. It is about buying back security that does not depend on you. Unlock 5. At this rung, the snowball starts feeding itself. And this is the secret engine that carries you to every rung above. Here is the choice that shows up the moment your machine starts paying. That $500 a month is arriving whether you spend it or not, and you have two options. You can take it and let it cover a bill, which is exactly what Unlock 3 was about, and it is a completely valid thing to do. Or, if you can still cover your life without it for a while longer, you can send it right back into the machine. And when you do, something quietly powerful happens. The 500 you reinvest buys more assets, which pay you more next month, which buys even more, which pays even more. The payments start generating their own payments. You stop being the only thing feeding the pile. Now the pile is helping feed itself, and your own contributions plus the machine's contributions climb together. This is compounding, and at the lower rungs it is almost invisible. The extra few dollars a month feel like nothing. But this reinvestment loop is precisely the mechanism that turns the first rung into the second, and the second into the third, faster each time. The distance from 150,000 to 300,000 is shorter than the distance you already climbed to reach the first rung, because now you have a helper. So there is a real fork here, and it is yours to choose. Enjoy the 500 or feed it back and let it accelerate you up the ladder. Early on, feeding it back is how the whole thing gains speed. Unlock 6, and it ties the whole rung together because it changes you and not just your balance. Once you have built even the first machine, you can never look at a price tag the same way again, because you have learned to see the machine hiding behind every number. Let me show you what I mean. Before, a $1,500 impulse purchase was just $1,500. You weighed it against what was in your account and decided. But now you know the 300 trick, so a different number lights up automatically. You realize that same $1,500 invested instead is a little machine that pays you about $5 a month, forever. And suddenly you are not choosing between the thing and your bank balance. You are choosing between the thing and a permanent stream of income you could own instead. Sometimes the thing is absolutely worth it, and you buy it with a clear head. But sometimes you look at it and think, I would rather have the $5 a month every month for the rest of my life. That is the shift from thinking like a spender to thinking like an owner. And it is worth more than the $500 itself. Money stops being a pile you spend down and becomes a set of machines you either build or give away at the checkout. You do not have to become a joyless miser about it. That is not the goal. But once you can see the machine behind the money, you make quietly better decisions for decades, almost without trying. The first rung does not just pay you. It teaches you to see. So how do you actually build this? How do you get from where you are now to $150,000 paying you $500 a month? The recipe is boring, and boring is exactly why it works, because boring is repeatable. Here it is. First, build the machine out of broad, low-cost index funds, not a hot dividend stock someone hyped you on. You want to own a little piece of the whole market, quietly, and let it grow. Second, automate the contributions. Set a fixed amount to move from your paycheck into that investment account the day you get paid, before your brain gets a vote every single month without you having to feel brave or motivated. Third, and write this down, do not chase yield. When you go looking for income, you will be tempted by things advertising 8, 10, 12%, and those high headline numbers are very often a trap. Fragile payouts that get cut, sitting on top of capital that quietly erodes. A steady, boring return you can count on beats a spectacular one that breaks. Fourth, reinvest everything the machine pays you until you actually need the income. Let the snowball from Unlock 5 do its work and pull the finish line closer. And fifth, be patient through the first stretch, because the first 150,000 is the slowest, hardest rung on the entire ladder. Every rung above it comes faster because the machine is helping. Do those 5 things and the first rung is not a fantasy or a windfall. It is a schedule. One you can start this month with the very next paycheck. So tell me in the comments, if your money paid one of your bills every month starting today, which bill would you hand it first? The groceries? The car? Pick one, because that is the rung you are really climbing toward. Wherever you are right now, the next dollar you invest is a brick in that machine. This is education, not financial advice, just the map laid out honestly. Next time, we climb to the second rung, $1,000 a month, the point where passive income stops being a cushion and starts being a paycheck. And the machine gets big enough to cover something that actually holds your life up. I will see you there.